Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Season 2 of the Self-Help Podcast. I'm your host, Kayla, and today we are going to be talking about self-confidence. I hear a lot of people talking about confidence on the internet, but what I hear most of is external confidence, your appearance, and being confident in external things. There is a very big difference between internal versus external confidence, and we're gonna dive deep into that today. External confidence comes from your appearance or external circumstances, meaning you may get confidence from your looks and how you put yourself together, but internal confidence comes from within. There is a slight danger in developing only external confidence because if you put a lot of effort into your appearance, what about those days where you just don't feel like it? Are you still going to be confident on the days that you might look like a gremlin? That's why internal confidence is super important, because things happen in life and you can't always get to the gym. You know, when my brother passed away, I took a break from working out. I took a break from yoga. I took a break from a lot of things. I was pretty much in bed crying for 3 weeks straight. I was still confident within myself because I developed the internal confidence within rather than relying on external circumstances and my external appearance to make me confident. Now, I do think it's important to take care of yourself and put effort into your appearance. However, the external will be a side effect from the internal confidence. You will radiate that confident energy outside of yourself once you feel confident within. And we're gonna dive deep into that. I used to get my confidence from my external appearance. I ended up having to go through a phase afterwards without wearing makeup for a while because makeup was a huge confidence booster for me. Now I love my face with or without makeup, and I feel like makeup is definitely different for me now, and it's something I like to play around with, and it's just like a ritual, like a practice. Before, I felt like I needed makeup in order to feel confident, and now I can go anywhere without makeup. I also was addicted to working out at one point because I thought that if I worked out and I looked my absolute best, then I would be worthy of love, relationships, money, all these different things, right? When in reality, I'm worthy whole and complete on my own without anything on the external. Developing that internal confidence radiated outside of me once I did so. I also used to say all the time how confident I was. I used to literally tell people, oh, I'm so confident, blah, 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 blah. But one thing I have to tell you is if somebody's always talking about how confident they are, they're most likely only confident on the external, and on the internal, not so much. Because a truly confident person will not go around bragging about how confident they are. True internal confidence is a quiet confidence. You do not have to speak it. You do not have to prove to anybody that you're confident. You just are. External confidence is also only a mask for your internal. A lot of people will use external confidence thinking that that's all there is to it, and it actually hides what's going on deep within a person and maybe shame or guilt around certain things. I feel like a lot of people will start with external confidence, but I really recommend to start with internal confidence because, like I said before, once you master internal confidence, the external appearance and confidence will be a side effect to the internal. A truly confident person does not seek approval, validation, or attention from outside sources. A truly confident person will get all of those things from within themselves, and they will figure out ways to feel validated, approved, and worthy of attention by themselves. And a truly confident person doesn't really need attention. There's different things that you may be confident about and things that you may not be confident about. For example, I'm very confident with dancing because I grew up dancing. I love dancing. It's something that I truly embody from within my soul. But if somebody asked me to, let's say, fly an airplane, I would not be confident to do that because I've never done it before. The lesson to learn from this analogy is that confidence also comes from repetition. When you repeat certain things and when you practice certain things, you become more confident in that specific thing. There's different levels to confidence in different areas of your life. It could be in terms of dating, relationships with people, friendships, your business, or your job, or even your hobbies. A lot of what stops people from doing certain hobbies is that they are not confident to do it. But the reality is you just have to start, and once you start, you'll then repeat it and you'll become better and better at it. I started heels dancing probably like 3 or 4 months ago. I didn't really feel confident in it at first. And then once I started to do more of it, I started to get the hang of it and I became more confident. Now, affirmations can also help boost your confidence. However, I think there's different levels to affirmations, and I'm gonna get into that. So if you're new to affirmations, I think a good way to do affirmations for beginners is by looking into a mirror and saying the affirmations that you would like to believe. However, you're not going to become confident or feel any better just by saying them. It might do something to your subconscious, but in the reality, you have to truly try to feel what you're saying in order for it to have a true impact and effect on your life. This is why I don't absolutely love saying random affirmations to yourself, to be honest, unless you like truly feel them. But if you don't feel something, it is good to practice saying it in front of a mirror to get the hang of it. Once you've done that and you feel like you are good with your affirmations, I really recommend to listen to music with affirmations in them. And that way you can kind of listen to it on a subconscious level. And also, one thing that I do is I will put on affirmations at nighttime. And these will be affirmations that I already believe as well. It just boosts my subconscious into ingraining that belief system within me. These affirmations can be for anything. I do recommend for it to be self-concept affirmations if you feel you don't have a good sense of self-worth or self-concept. And that's what we're really talking about, is the internal confidence within, which is your self-concept, your worthiness level. Does that worthiness level and feeling like you deserve something come from your external? Does it come from things that you've done? Does it come from maybe a certain accomplishment? Or does it come from your external appearance? That's where things can get a little bit tricky, because then you're not truly embodying self-confidence. You want this to come from within yourself, of truly knowing yourself and truly knowing what you deserve, not having it based off of anything from the external, because anything on the external is just very temporary and it can leave at any moment. And once that leaves, let's say that opportunity leaves, or physical appearance, if you get a disease or something, like, you never know, let's not manifest that, but you never know, right? If something happens, then you're kind of shit out of luck because you didn't work on your internal confidence and your worthiness and your self-concept. So I do recommend, if you are going to listen to affirmations, have it be self-concept affirmations. Work on feeling into those affirmations. Don't just mindlessly say them, because it's not really going to do much. And the more that you put into your affirmations, the more that you will get out of them. By saying them and actually feeling them and embodying them, you will receive more out of those affirmations than if you were to just like mindlessly say them and then not believe it. I'm going to give you an exercise. What we seek in a partner is normally what we would like to seek within ourselves. If you feel like you're someone who is constantly looking for a partner or wants someone to be in your life, like a romantic partner or whatever the case may be, I want you to write down a list of your standards for somebody. It doesn't matter what your standards were before. Make a list of new standards and make them high standards. Some of my standards, I'll give you some examples, is whoever I'm with in the future, like, they need to work out every day. They need to be health conscious. They need to love themselves. They need to have a deep relationship with themselves. They need to have done the inner work and shadow work in order to get to where they are. It needs to be someone who's worked on their healing, but it needs to be somebody who I vibe with and somebody who's been on a similar path to me. If I'm going to be with someone, it needs to be someone who is emotionally available and emotionally intelligent. Write down a list of standards of what you would like in a partner, and then become those standards. Look at that list of standards and become the version of yourself that would attract that partner. A lot of people who are not confident are seeking someone, are looking for someone outside of them. Of course, we're all human. We all desire a romantic connection, of course. However, I feel a truly confident person really isn't looking for anybody, isn't trying to be with anybody or force anything. Really take a look at your standards and stick to them and also become them, because most likely you're not seeking a partner. You're seeking those qualities from within yourself and you just haven't become them yet. And once you become them, you'll then be more confident. Now, something that has truly helped me with being in my single life, and I did this before I was single as well, but I do it a lot more now, is I like to go on solo dates. Now, what is a solo date? It's literally what you think it is. It's a date just by yourself. I think I'm gonna make a whole entire podcast episode on this, but I truly think that solo dates are an amazing way to spend time with yourself, get to know yourself on a deeper level, and really truly figure out what you like. When you go on solo dates, you'll then realize what type of dates you would like to go on with a partner as well, because most people don't really know. They normally just go out to a dinner and that's it, and then their love life is kind of boring. So I highly recommend to take yourself on different types of solo dates, and I have the perfect solo date workbook guide for this with 52 solo date ideas for the entire year, and you can go on a solo date every single week. And there's journal prompts in there to reflect on how your solo date went. And also, it goes from the lower price of solo dates all the way up to the higher price of solo dates, because especially when somebody's first getting into solo dating, depending on your self-concept and self-worth and what you feel you deserve, you may not really want to spend a lot of money on solo dating at first if you don't feel worthy of that. I know some people have trouble spending money on themselves. I'm not one of those people, but I used to be. And I think that investing in yourself and spending time with yourself is a really good tool to develop self-confidence as well. You don't need anybody on the external to do that for you. You can do it yourself. And then if somebody ever does come along and provides that for you, you're not desperate for that. You already have it within yourself, and you can then see with a clearer mind of, is this person right for me? I will leave the link to my solo dating workbook guide down below. I highly recommend it. I've gotten such amazing feedback on it. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you because solo dating has absolutely changed the game for me. It's made me love myself so much more. I also recommend journaling as well. Journaling down your thoughts and feelings can help you so much, and it helps you to really get to know yourself. And it also helps you to not make irrational decisions as well or act on impulses. I used to be the type of person, and I'm still kind of working on this, where I would act on impulse. So journaling has been a game changer for me when it comes to not making impulsive decisions and being able to trust myself, because then I have written down all of my feelings, all of my thoughts, and it's on paper in front of my eyes, and it's not all up here, and I can see clearly what exactly I want in life and what I feel. And it really helps me to make decisions as well. And once you know yourself and trust yourself, you'll become more confident with making decisions in the future. Now, going back to seeking things from the external, if you ever find yourself seeking something outside of you where it's craving, so there's a difference between craving something and desire. Craving something comes from a place of not feeling whole and complete on your own. Desire comes from a place of having your own cup filled, but just desiring a connection or desiring money, desiring new clothes, like whatever the case may be. But craving is a different feeling, and craving comes from a place of lack and a place of that you're not enough and that you won't be enough without it. And so really get clear on what it is that you are craving and what you are desiring. Desiring is healthy and craving isn't so healthy, but it's healthy to become aware of what it is that you crave. We're all human. We all crave different things, so there's nothing wrong with it. Just make sure that you are conscious and aware of what it is that you are craving versus what you are desiring. And then once you're clear on that, really take a look at it and peel back the layers and say, okay, why am I craving this? And how can I fulfill this need within myself instead of seeking something from the external to fulfill it for me. Once you're able to do that, you're then able to trust yourself more, develop more self-confidence, make better decisions, and not act on impulses. And also trusting yourself and trusting your intuition strengthens your confidence as well, because that is a form of protecting yourself, and it is a form of loving yourself as well when you know that something isn't in alignment for you or isn't right for you, and you're willing to walk away from it, and you're willing to say, this isn't going to serve me. So let's talk about the external a little bit, even though this is a side effect to the internal work you'll be doing, but let's just talk about it for a brief moment. Taking care of yourself and going the extra mile with yourself, putting yourself together, focusing on your appearance a little bit is a form of self-love and self-confidence. And it's also an investment to yourself. So it's different when you are getting ready to please others and you're like, I have to get ready in order to feel worthy, whole, and complete, whatever the case may be. A confident person will look at getting ready as an investment in themselves, because the reality is that we do just feel better when we put time into ourselves. When we put time or energy or effort into anything, we then develop a strong emotional connection. And when you develop a strong emotional connection to yourself when you are getting ready and taking care of yourself, I take a long time to get ready and I do not give a crap about it. I can take up to like 3 hours to get ready, and it's not necessarily getting ready. It's like my whole morning routine is like 3 to 4 hours. I know that sounds crazy, but that's just how I take care of myself, how I love me, how I'm able to go out in the world and radiate positive energy to other people as well. And I wouldn't be able to do that unless I actually invested time into myself and invested time into my appearance and taking care of myself and feeling good about myself. Even just going the extra mile and putting on lotion even if you feel like you don't need to, or putting on body oil and just loving yourself. Taking that extra time and extra care to nourish and love your external appearance as well, because the universe gave you this body and it's up to you on how you take care of it. It's also how you attract other people in. Humans are just naturally physical creatures. Someone's external appearance can say a lot about them and a lot about their energy as well. And you can typically tell if somebody's using their external appearance for validation or approval, or if they are actually doing it for themselves. And when you invest in your appearance with the intention of investing in yourself, it is much, much healthier. And it also attracts other people into your life that are in alignment with you. My outfit is something that a lot of people compliment. A lot of people also compliment my eyes. They compliment my hair. I get compliments on my body too, whatever. But different things that you do to your external appearance can literally help you to have a connection with somebody, because a lot of people don't really know what to say when they go up to somebody. It's really common for somebody to compliment someone. If I like a girl's outfit, I'm going to tell her and I'm going to say, hey, I really love your outfit. And then maybe we will become friends, or maybe we won't. The point is that your external appearance is what also typically attracts people to you, and it's also your energy as well. Allow your external appearance to be a representation of who you embody and who you are. Another thing to develop self-confidence is to learn your triggers and your boundaries and get comfortable expressing them. This is where journaling also comes into play as well. Sometimes I will literally talk out loud and express my emotions into thin air so that I can find the right wording or way of expressing myself to be able to communicate with another person without coming across too harsh or whatever, because I personally have been told in the past that my words have hurt people. I used to be a very blunt person. I used to say things how they were. I did take into consideration people's feelings, but that's something that I've had to work on within myself, is to be a little bit more softer with what I say. For a long time, I kind of shut down my emotions and didn't feel comfortable expressing my emotions because I realized how blunt I was, and a lot of people just could not handle what I was saying. I have had to literally talk to myself out loud and journal and really see how it is that I'm feeling versus like what I would really like to say to a person. That's just something that I have gotten to know about myself, and it's never my intention to hurt somebody, right? Like, I don't necessarily think that you should have to change the way you communicate fully, but for me, it was kind of necessary because the things that I would say were very harsh, and I had to really work on that. Also, knowing that when you get triggered, what is it that you need in order to calm yourself down to be able to express your emotions in a healthy way. I used to yell a lot, and that's something that I had to really work on. When I was with my ex, when we first got together, I would yell at him for like really stupid stuff. It was because I grew up with a father who yelled all the time. I grew up around that, so then I became that, and my ex brought it to my attention that it was a problem. And so then I worked on it, and I no longer yell at people anymore because it's not an effective way of communicating. So getting to know yourself, getting to know the way that you communicate, and starting to feel more comfortable communicating your feelings without doing so in an unhealthy way. And this is something that can really strengthen your confidence as well, because when you are firm in your boundaries and what you need and what you're not going to tolerate, you then develop more trust within yourself and you become more confident. Another thing that I would like to say is to not change yourself for other people. If there is anything you would like to change about yourself, I want you to really ask yourself why. See if it's actually something that you want. If it's not something that you want, then you're not going to be you at the end of the day. You're not going to be authentic. For example, let's say you're talking to a guy that only dates redheads, but you are a blonde. And if you know anything about hair dye, dyeing your hair red after dyeing your hair blonde is a pretty bold move because red hair takes forever to get out of blonde hair or to get out of hair in general. I've done that. Not for a guy, but I have dyed my hair red before and it took forever to get out. That's how I know this. If let's say you were to dye your hair red for a guy, you're not being authentic. You're not being you. Therefore, you are seeking something from the external and you're only getting that confidence not from the hair, but from that man that likes redheads because you don't feel worthy, whole, and complete on your own without the man. When the man decides to leave and is done with you and doesn't want anything to do with you anymore, you're stuck with red hair and then you're gonna have to get it out and you're gonna have the memory of him every time you have to go to the hair salon to get this red hair dye out of your hair. Kind of an extreme example, but you get the point. Do not change yourself or what you enjoy or what you like or whatever it is about you for another person. Be yourself and you will attract people into your life that you are truly aligned with on a soul level and not from an external point of view. Another way that I have developed self-confidence is I have started to love every part of my story and where I came from and who I've become because it made me who I am today. I used to be very ashamed of the things that I have gone through in life because I'm gonna be honest, it's a lot, but everyone's gone through a lot. And also, your story is what allows you to connect with others, and it's also the catalyst for your expansion as well. I mean, let's face it, you probably wouldn't change or become a better version of yourself if it wasn't for traumatic stuff happening in your life. The trauma does serve a purpose, and it is what made me who I am today. And when you start to love every part of your story, you then start to love every version of yourself. When you start to love every version of yourself, you're then able to fully love who you are today without any shame around it. Another thing I want to say is a confident person owns their opinions and they don't backtrack on what it is that they said. If you have, let's say, a controversial opinion and you share it and you say, this is what I feel, that's it. Just putting it out there, right? Yeah, so what? You might turn people away, whatever. Those people aren't aligned with you because they don't have the same opinion. Who cares? Why do you need their approval? Why do you need their validation? Why does it matter? Maybe one or two other people are going to be like, oh wow, I have the same exact opinion. And then you end up vibing with that person. But the point is to own your opinions, and you do not have to explain your opinion to anybody. Because if people don't get it, then they are not my vibe, they are not my tribe, and that's okay. Another thing that I want to say is to let people miss out on you. If somebody doesn't value you, you are being protected. You do not have to seek approval, validation in order to feel worthy, whole, and complete. That's where self-concept work comes in. This is where you need to understand the type of energy that you carry and how valuable your energy actually is, and why you should be very cautious of who you share your energy with and how much of that energy you share with people. Because let me tell you, I know my energy. I know when my energy is being drained. You have to be very cautious of who you invest your energy in and who you hang around, because other people's energies will rub off on you, and you have to be very conscious of if you want that energy in your life. So let people miss out on you. Know your value, know your worth, know the energy that you carry and embody. I get people telling me all the time how magnetic my aura is, how much of a goddess I am, how beautiful my energy is, and I appreciate those comments because those are the types of compliments that fill my heart up. But I know that, and somebody could say all of those things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you will believe it. And unless you believe it for yourself and you truly value yourself, you're going to let just anybody walk into your life and be a part of your life. And you have to really use your discernment here. And it's not necessarily about judging anybody because everybody's on their own path, but use your discernment of, is this type of energy going to benefit my life? Is this type of energy going to uplift me and help me grow and expand and evolve? Or is it going to drag me down and drain me? And really use your discernment. You do not have to be friends with everybody. That's when you start to become really confident as well, is when you start to set boundaries with people and you start to tell people, I don't like this type of energy in my life. We can't be friends. It is what it is. I have had to do this recently, this past year, where I had broken up with 4 friends, right? Like, that's kind of a lot of friends to break up with for 1 year. But I broke up with 4 friends, and pretty much what I had told them, well, some of them I distanced myself because it just wasn't really necessary to discuss because they already knew what they did. But some of them, they didn't do anything wrong. And I had to tell them, this relationship isn't in alignment for me anymore. And that's okay. You're not meant to keep people in your life forever. So being okay with letting people go when it's necessary and being grateful for the type of purpose that they served in your life and you served for them, and being able to walk away, is you also embodying self-confidence because you know your worth, you know your value, you know your energy, and you know that you no longer want to invest your energy in that person. There was actually a situation very recently where I was at a festival this past weekend, and this person kept coming up to me, but he was very clingy, and I was like, whoa bro, we just met, what is going on? Of course, I'm a very kind person, so I'm very welcoming towards people, so I was very welcoming to him at first because we had just started a conversation. But when my discernment started to kick in, I was like, whoa, this doesn't feel in alignment, right? I also felt like I didn't really owe him an explanation or anything. You do not owe people explanations. The only time I'll give someone an explanation is if I genuinely feel like they deserve it, or if I feel like I hurt somebody and they maybe took something the wrong way. Then I'll explain. But if it's somebody I don't know, I'm not explaining myself. I'm just not. It makes no sense. I'm not giving that energy. So this guy just would not stop coming up to me. I was also on mushrooms at one point, and I was going through a full-blown ego death. And I was literally staring at a fire, and maybe you couldn't really tell from the outside, because when people think of ego deaths, they probably think of something very dramatic, but it was dramatic in my brain, but on the outside, you probably couldn't tell. I don't know, but I probably just looked tired or something. And so he had come up to me again, he had come up to me several times before, and he had been staring at me a lot, and I could just feel that energy, and I was just very off put by it. He came up to me and he was like, oh, how's it going, blah, blah, blah. And I looked at him and I said, hi, I'm doing good. I would just like to be alone for now. And I had told him previously in the night that I wanted to be alone. And he was like, oh, why? And I was like, I just do. And he's like, okay. And then he saw me again, asked me what was up, and wanted to be in my energy field. And I said, I would really prefer to be alone right now. Thank you. And he was like, why? What's wrong? And I was like, nothing's wrong. I just really enjoy being in my own company and being in my own energy. And I just prefer to be alone right now. I didn't necessarily feel like I had to explain anything to him because, one, we just met. He wasn't a friend of mine. And yeah, like we didn't know each other. So I'm not going to sit here and explain myself and say, oh, this isn't in alignment for me. Like it doesn't make sense because we just met. So that's why I was just like, oh, I just want to be alone. He respected it, but then he sat next to me and I was just kind of like, oh boy. But anyways, like you have to be very protective of your energetic field and who you allow into it, and allow yourself to set boundaries without feeling bad. Sometimes, especially women, like I know, like you might get perceived as a bitch, and that's okay. That's another thing about being confident, is allow yourself to be perceived in whatever way people are going to perceive you, because everybody is going through this life with a different level of understanding and consciousness, and it's not up to you to prove yourself to anybody that you're a good person, because you know you are. And if somebody is going to take me setting a boundary and saying that I don't want them in my energetic field, or it's not aligned, or I want to be alone, that's for them to deal with. That has absolutely nothing to do with me. What their perception is of me has more to do with them than it actually does me, because people will see you as a reflection of themselves and what they need to work on. And also, like, it can go both ways. They might see you in a positive light, and that's because they possess those positive qualities within themselves. But if they see you in a negative light, that is on them. You are just reflecting back to them what they need to work on, and it's not your business. And it's not your job to try and fix or do anything to help them, or whatever the case may be. Allow them to just be and perceive you the way that they're going to perceive you, and allow yourself to be disliked. Not everybody's going to like you, and that is perfectly normal. If everybody liked you, you're doing something wrong. Stop being a shapeshifter. Stop shifting your energy based on who you interact with. It doesn't make sense. Be in your own energy, be in your own frame. Something I love doing is meditating and looking at a candle flame. This is something that Erin Dowdy talks about, and feeling the space in between you and the candle flame. And then this is something that I take out in the world with me, is really feeling my energy within my own body and feeling the space in between me and another person. Yes, we are all one and we are all connected. However, it is really important to also feel the separation between you and another person's energy. Then you can be fully embodied in who you are and your authenticity, and then you will become more confident as well when you're allowing yourself to be authentic and not caring if somebody likes you or not. You need to recognize your power and not be afraid of it. I used to be afraid of my own power, and I used to be afraid of stepping into my power. And I realized that recently, the more that I step into my power and my true authenticity, the more I attract people who are genuinely aligned with me. Okay, so the last thing that I want to talk about is something that I always work through with my clients. It's about limiting beliefs. This can really help with your self-concept as well, and developing strong belief systems towards things that you would like to believe in life, because what we believe is what is normally in our reality. Let's say you have a limiting belief about money. I want you to get a journal, paper, whatever the case may be. Anytime that you get paid for being you, or any time that you receive money from something, I want you to write it down, and this is going to be your portfolio of evidence and proof. So this can go for anything in life with limiting beliefs. Whatever your limiting belief is, I want you to counteract that with proof and evidence that that is false. Anytime something happens that supports the new belief system that you would like to embody, write it down and save it in your portfolio of evidence and proof. And once you build up enough evidence, you'll then start to believe it, because the only reason why you have limiting beliefs in the first place is because you had evidence to prove it. Unlearn that and take your power back and start building your portfolio of proof for your new belief systems. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, I do have a coaching program designed to help you merge with your higher self and activate your highest timeline. And during this coaching program, we will discuss all things limiting beliefs, healing your inner child, different patterns that have come up in your life that are blocking you from reaching your desires, also your habits, your routines. My favorite is the morning routine. I have a super special process for designing a morning routine that will help you manifest and so much more. And this program is designed to help you live in your dream reality. So if this is something that you are super interested in and you feel aligned to work with me, I'd love to invite you to hop on a call and see if we're a great fit for each other for the program. I also offer one-on-one guided meditations in this program as well. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's podcast episode. I really hope that you learned something from this, and I'm wishing you all the best on your self-love and confidence journey. Leave a comment down below if you have any questions or if you'd like to comment on anything that I said and start a discussion. I'd love to connect with you down below. Thank you so much for tuning in to this podcast episode, and I will see you in the next one. Have a beautiful rest of your day.